Welcome to Review, Lobster Magnet's Review, the only channel of many channels that you can catch reviews of the manga that I find interesting for now. I'm Lobster Magnet. I'm here with my good buddy Gorogregoro, and we are here to discuss the most recent chapter of Doctor Stone, Chapter 12. Greg, what did you think of Chapter 12 of Doctor Stone?
I thought this is kind of going to be like a cop out of something that could have been huge in the story. Um, so they escape from the guy, right? With like the use of gunpowder and the explosion. They don't kill him, and they carry off Senku's body, smart guy's body,
Mm-hmm.
and they notice that he has like stone petrified on the back of his neck, where supposedly Primal Guy like dis chopped him and like destroyed his cervical bone or whatever. But I don't understand why this would protect him, because we clearly seen Primal Guy be able to destroy other stone statues with his bare hands. There's like no reason why this like little stone piece on his neck was going to protect him.
Um, Yeah, it was not a great chapter. I was like definitely kind of disappointed by it. I mean, I knew there was going to be some sort of cop out where they would like both survive somehow. I think the petrification on the neck is kind of like dumb. Like, they're still playing it like he's dead. I don't see how like, he should be fine, but he still has those dead glassy eyes. I don't understand how like unpetrifying the back of his neck is exactly, like revive him and bring him back to life, and there's no like real plausible solution that's going to make us believable. And this whole conflict like feels like what I loved about Doctor Stone was like, it's these two guys. They don't have superpowers. They have to rebuild civilization. Great. They're using the power of science. Like I want to see them irrigate. I want to see a shonen comic about them learning how to irrigate, cook, and build civilization. All these like seemingly boring things, but they still bring it with like a shonen and crazy, insane bravado, that we all know and love. And that's what like got me excited about the series. Fighting the strongest primate is dumb, and I think the fact that he survived also feels like a fuck you. I
Yeah.
hate that a lot. That,
Well, I guess it's
that his
implied that
mind
he's going to
like
survive. It's
his mind
implied.
is a fucking like impervious to explosions.
It's implied he's going to survive. Um, yeah. I hope he's like paralyzed though. I hope he's like paralyzed from the neck down.
I
That's
don't think
what.
he will be. That'd be interesting. That'd be like some sort of lasting consequence. But like, given the fact that we got the most bullshitty wave, like, oh, this is gonna how we're gonna bring him back. As interesting as it would be to like see him like in some like steampunk wheelchair made out of bamboo and vines and shit, getting through the forest. I don't think we're getting that.
Um, yeah, and just like the way they did it, like as like, oh, this is his genius plan to have like a piece of stone right on his cervical, whatever. He just happens to have a piece
Well,
of
I
stone
was
right
also
on.
confused that they're like implying that like, oh, Seku gave them all these clues because he was scratching the back of his head, and
I don't even think that was him giving clues.
that felt like stupid bullshit.
It kind of did. Um,
Eh,
I just think that I just think in the context of the story so far, like this makes very little sense. Like how this was supposed to defend against Primal Guy, because he was hell bent on destroying so many statues before with his bare hands, and just a small piece of little stone shouldn't be able to protect his dumbass cervical spine.
I don't know. I guess it lessen the blow or something, or some sort of bullshit logic about something that doesn't really make much sense. It was kind of disappointing, and like really, really, Yeah, I was not happy. I call a whole complete bullshit. It did not feel earned, and I was like super annoyed with both solutions that we have like the weakest path where both of them are just kind of fine. And it's like either introduce new people, give them some bigger conflict, like have like primate guy run off into the woods and go start his own civilization, and then maybe bring him back in a few arcs and some bullshit where they have to like team up because like there's like this other evil guy who revived, and primate guy needs the power of science to defeat him. And now the two rivals must join forces through the power of friendship to defeat a greater foe. That'd be interesting.
You mean like for later? Like,
Yeah.
is a way to redeem what just happened in this
Yeah.
chapter?
Yeah. Or just like avoid the whole conflict and like move on to something else. And now it looks like we're gonna get like this whole big flashback of like his first early days in the stone world, which to me seems like the most uninteresting thing we can get at this point.
Oh.
Like, oh my god, scientist guy gets up and he's all alone. Let's see him build shit. It's like, all right, we already saw him, like the results of him building shit. We don't need an origin story of how he revived in the fucking cave. You get on to the good shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still
Jeez.
not like. It takes a lot for me to drop a series. I think one of the only times I dropped a series was like, you remember good old Claymore?
Oh God, yeah, Claymore.
I never finished it. There was just that big reveal that like, oh my god, all of the claymores are like experiments to make weapons for this war in the mainland, and that's what it all has been for, and that's what the organization's all about. And I was kind of like, fuck you, fuck that. That's stupid. It's stupid. This is a dumb series, but it was fun dumb. Now it's just stupid dumb, and that was enough to like make me like drop it. So obviously not going to drop Dr. Stone. I'm still intrigued enough and pleased, but like
Yeah.
this was not a good way to end. Like I like the first 6 chapters. I've not been happy with the most recent 6 chapters.
Of Dr. Stone?
Yeah.
What, you didn't like the previous chapters before this? Like,
Well, they were okay. I don't like. Basically, I don't like everything with the fighting the primate guy.
oh, really? Why? I thought those were like some of the most interesting parts of it because
I mean, they were interesting, but I
What?
just don't like this guy. I just don't think it's an interesting conflict. And like the fact that like Dr. Stone doesn't have superpowers and he's just like can only use his smarts, and so far we haven't seen any like really smart holy shit things of like him like, oh, I've got a booby trap which is going to capture the thing, and it was just like, oh, he shoots a crossbow at him, oh, we need to run and make fucking gunpowder, oh, let's throw the gunpowder at him.
I thought it was like a very interesting conflict because it just goes to show like the kind of political societal differences of like how early man might have had trouble with like how should our society be built, what should our laws be, and it just goes to show like they just like these 4 people all have like very conflicting differences.
Well, everyone gets along except for primate guy. Love interest gets along and is willing to go along with shit. Endurance guy's like totally down with it, and science guy is like happy to have people. So, those 3 are fine. It's just the primate guy who's like, all right, I'm gonna kill you all.
Yeah, but it's like these 4 have so much power over like how civilization could be rebuilt.
Well,
and they haven't even started rebuilding it, and they're starting to argue about it. And I think that the conflict of ideologies is very interesting.
I guess so, but it's not being expressed in the best way. The best way would be like, them putting their ideologies into like civilizations. That like primate guy has his civilization of only the young people he views as pure. Well, second, like it would be a really good, interesting story for like whatchamacallit. Let's say if someone gets like a toothache, or their appendicitis is like if they get appendicitis and they have this like injury that's like solvable. but none of them have like the medical expertise to solve the problem. So then they have to go to like a hospital and they have to like guess on which person to revive, who might have the medical expertise, who can actually help out.
Okay. All
So
right.
that's like a great conflict to bring up, to move things forward, and use the things that we've learned about this world thus far, to make it unique and interesting.
Okay. Um, I think something like that could still come up, like eventually. Um, I don't know. I like how early the conflict of interests like happened so far in this series. It's like, you know, because we're starting from ground zero, you know, from square one or whatever, whatever saying you want to say. It's like they have a lot of power to mold society or civilization to how they see it more fit, because maybe they feel like society wasn't perfect to begin with. So, maybe there should be like a change of like how we start things up again.
Potentially, but well, you need some more people active to make that happen.
Sort of like with the manga, it's like things are things are always moving at like a fast pace in manga, right? It's just like this is like this conflict of ideologies. Like it doesn't. I don't think it should happen like over too much time per se. I like that it starts off from like uh, you know starts off in a very early stage of just like people sort of like theory crafting, like, oh, I think society would be better built like this. Oh, I think society would be better built like this. Oh, we're gonna have a conflict of interest very soon. Might as well get that over with right away, right now. You know?
Yeah, but like teenagers squabbling in the midst of nothing is like, even you felt disappointed. Like, there's no consequences. Not even like a limb's burned off. He's like completely fine. He's running away, and then scientist guy's going to be revived through like the lamest contrivance.
I'm not so whatchamacallit, uh concerned about Primal Guy getting killed off right away. I'm more concerned about like Senku like not suffering from any catastrophic results from this
you're,
encounter.
you're really worried that he's going to be like paralyzed and he's going to become like Professor
No,
Stone.
no, I want him to become like Professor Stone, like Professor X, who paralyzed Doctor Senku, whatever. But I want there to be some long lasting consequences to this kind of fight.
We'll see. My gut tells me I don't think there will be, but there's a chance that we might get something that like lasts longer. So, Greg, what would you give this chapter? What score would you give it?
It did feel really cheap. I mean, considering how good the other chapters were, and then we got this chapter. I
For
give
me,
it
it'd be
like a
like
6.
you're generous. I give it a 4 out of 10.
Oh, really? Ouch. Ouch. I still like the artwork, though. I mean,
Well,
the
that
art.
artwork's fun. Primal guy looks really buff. He's like super badass Tarzan.
Yeah. Just like, I think the guy is really masterful at drawing. Just like, right now, the story could be taking a turn for, like, the absolute worst.
We'll see. We'll see if we get a good flashback from Seku. Well, the Seku doesn't really have like.
I shouldn't say the absolute worst. I should say, like, a turn for the absolute mediocre.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's still interesting, but like it went from good to like mediocre, and that's always kind of disappointing. I can name like a dozen mangas that I kind of hate, that are terrible and awful. Um,
Mm.
that are like that this is more entertaining, but to me, it's like it feels like This is like the safe and bad choice. I like exciting choices that bring up new possibilities. Like, oh God, you remember in Naruto? One of my favorite things that happened in the series was when like Sasuke, killed Orochimaru because it was like something that like everyone had speculated that he might do, but we were all kind of afraid. Oh man, would Kishimoto have the balls to do something that drastic? And he did, and it's like, yes, this is the perfect direction. And then of course it gets squandered as he like spends like 20 chapters getting his like ninja team together, and they all suck. Terrible, and they're a huge waste of fucking time.
Well, they're sucky, but they did have some uses, like, you know, finding chakra users and, some henchmen to fight with him.
They weren't that great. They were, like, for all the time that was invested in them, they never
were useful enough to him, basically. He did all the heavy lifting, though.
He did all the heavy lifting. There wasn't, like, a big badass sequence where, like, the Straw Hats are a team. They all have, like, don't you feel like they, as a cohesive unit, kind of, like, get more play than, like, Sasuke's team, the Team Hawk?
Of course. But, damn, how do I compare the Straw Hats to that? I mean,
they're fucking useless. They like had only like one really big standout fight, and that was them versus Killer Bee, and they were largely had their asses handed to them by Killer Bee's rapping.
It's because they didn't really play off of each other very well. It's sort of like they're a very robotic kind of like ninja team, sort of. Well,
they're terrible. You know it was terrible. But anyway, I'm digressing. The whole point is that it was a good thing. It was a good thing that Sasuke killed Orochimaru. That was an exciting development, and I was happy to see it. And I hope an exciting development, like new characters that we've been hinted at. The smoke signals get into Dr. Stone, and we get a new possibility.
Yeah, and Senku needs to be paralyzed after this or something.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Oh God, maybe,
and they need to explain how Primal Guy didn't break through the stone. How did he not break through the stone in his neck when he breaks through stone like every day with his bare hands?
I don't know, because he missed it or whatever. It was like really. I just don't know how it like is going to revive him if he's dead, or how if it did protect him, he should just be fine.
It makes me a little bit upset that this is going to be like the thing that saves him, like potentially being unscathed completely, which would be really, really, really mediocre.
Yeah.
The story.
Well, we'll see next week. It's the epilogue of the prologue, so it implies this is like the first story arc, and then like we're gonna get like the beginnings of the next one next week. So hopefully we won't get too much time in Seku's flashback. So I think that we got a lot of stuff that we want to cover today. So I think that's gonna end it for this review, unless you have any other final thoughts.
Well, that's it, pretty much.
All right. Well, of course, give your comments give us your thoughts in the comments below if you like, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We're slowly upping the production values of this channel a little bit by the bit. Yeah, we're gonna make things better.
Yep. I'll take it easy.
Have a good one.